Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. We are waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. Welcome, everyone. Happy Poetry Month. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. I am also the lead author of 100 Poems and Possibilities for Healing, yay, where I gathered 30 of my fellow poets and asked them to share their brave words and poetry. And starting today, we are celebrating poetry all month with our authors. And Michol Tuttle is here to help me do that today. Welcome, Michol.
Thank you for having me, Laura.
All right, first of all, you guys, I can't wait for you to hear the spoken words. Michol, thank you so much for being here today to help me celebrate one of my biggest passions. Michol Mae Tuttle is the founder of Lady Mae Impressions, where she weaves her wisdom, knowledge, and experiences into her artwork, novels, poetry, meditations, and music as a way to bring awareness to and normalize mental health. You guys, Michol wrote chapter 23 in the 100 Poems book. It's called From Unsure I'd Survive to Learning to Thrive. So let's get right to it. Michol, I'd love it if you would read your poem for us today. So what's this poem called?
Laura, this poem is called Learning Grief.
All right, the mic is all yours.
Thank you. Society can be cruel to the grieving heart. They say get over it before the healing can start. And so many people busy their grief away. I was one of them until the most tragic of days. My grief journey started when I was 11 years old. It probably started before then, but that's how memory goes. My dear Nana and Papa fell ill around the same time, and although we did everything we couldn't stop the tide. I was a bit too young to understand the emotions that I felt, and again I seemed to struggle when my dad left. But society doesn't give us time and space to breathe, and it doesn't consider all of the different types of grief. So I just buried the feelings deep down inside. And when at 13, my mom sent me away, I cried. And later, when the anger surfaced, I didn't think it was grief because handling grief wasn't something anyone had taught me. And at 15, when she died of the plague we call cancer, the swirl of emotions was destined to lead me to disaster. Still, I had no real valuable grief education to lean on. So I floundered about trying everything and anything to move on. When my grandmother died, her words echoed through my mind. Think positive and positive things will happen. And I felt purpose stir inside. I coped with her death by starting my very own experiment. I would honor her by testing the words that became my inheritance. It seemed to me every couple years, yet another person died, and I continued to busy away my grief, convinced I was fine. And one day we lost my precious cousin, a teen, to suicide. And I found even more things to busy away my time. The grief still found its way in, and I found the Four Agreements, a book that seemed to save me from my state of bereavement. I embarked on another phase of my journey, shifting my mind. I leaned more heavily into healing as I busied away more time. I thought I was a pro. There was no loss that would make me backslide. Despite all of my research and healing, nothing prepared me for this time. I felt like the darkness would consume me forever. I'd forever lost my light. I didn't just lose my child that day, I lost so much more. This grief was heavier and deeper than anything I'd experienced before. I sold my home because I couldn't go back to the place he died. I lost my sense of security. I lost my own internal flame inside. Out of my greatest darkness, grief, and despair came a deeper understanding. With intentional choice and hard work healing, I felt my knowledge expanding. Suddenly, I realized I never really learned how to process my grief fully. I learned it came in waves, and society was my greatest bully. Everyone will experience their grief journey uniquely and at their own pace. And a safe person is someone who will be there holding safe space. And when the grief burst hits, it's okay to sit with it and lean into the waves. They won't last forever, but I do remember them lasting for days. I hate the saying, it gets easier with time. It seems like a lie. You get stronger as you add more tools to your tool belt that you can apply. And when you think your flame is gone, just feed it the healing spark to ignite. And that internal flame we all have is internal. It will always be inside.
Thank you. Busy away your grief. I wonder how many of you resonate with that, with those lines. Michol, thank you for sharing that beautiful poem. You know, the most important thing I think I want people to know about my why behind my poetry is that it helped me connect with a deeper place beyond the rules of writing that felt like a pure expression of soul. I feel that in your poem and all of the poet's words in this book. Tell me a little bit of the why behind your poetry. What do you want people to know?
Well, all of my poetry is um, written from real, raw, authentic experiences and emotion. I learned from a very young age that this was a way that I could help grow my emotional intelligence. I could identify things because I could write them out, which made me question things and challenge things. So for me, really, writing was a healing tool. And now it's become, to put it out there is a whole different question, right? Well, why do you put it out there, right? I do it because it helps me heal. I put it out there because it might help someone else feel less alone. And they might be like, oh, wow, I did that.
Yes, seems to be a theme with our very big hearted authors, that they're here to help you guys, just like Michol said. All right, so this book is more than poetry. In this 100 Poems and Possibilities book, each poet included a prompt for you guys, our readers, to enjoy. So if y'all don't have your notebook and pen yet, you might want to like pause this video and go grab those for yourself. Michol, would you please read your prompt from the book?
Absolutely. So my prompt is write about your rise. If you get stuck, try writing about gratitude and self love.
What was the first part? Right about your rise?
You're right about your rise. Yes. So I wrote this specifically because I remember thinking I couldn't rise above the loss of my boy. And I really hated it when someone gave me the gratitude assignment. So, but in that interesting twist of fate, it became one of the most meaningful and effective tools that I could have learned to do. So,
Mm.
if you don't feel like you have a rise yet, then focus on gratitude for now and you'll get there.
All right, right about the rise. I love it. All right, listeners, it's your turn. Take some time to write on that prompt today. See what moves through you. There are no rules here. And one of the things I invite all of you to do, if you have a poem that you'd like to share, either here on the show or we've got our Warrior Love Poetry Facebook page, I've got some information down below for you to actually submit your brave words to us. Michol, thank you so much for what you do in the world, and thank you for being here today to help me celebrate Poetry Month.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for having me and thank you for all you do.
Oh, my pleasure. We're going to have so much fun this month, you guys. All right, so here's a peek of the book. This is so much more than a book of poems, you guys. It's a generous community waiting for you to reach out. So drop down under the video here. I have Michol hooked up with her website so you can explore every amazing thing that she is up to, because it's a lot. And maybe you are ready to share your poetry or brave words with the world in a bigger way. We're accepting applications for the next volume of 100 poems. So you're going to find more info for that below, as well as info about our in-person and online events. And remember, you guys, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.